Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah. I just kidding. I got nothing.
Yeah. How was everybody's Monday? Oh, that good, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a Monday. I guess I got up, so I mean, that's a plus, right? Starting the week off on the right foot, literally. Yeah, no, my Sunday was shitty because of unexpected power losses. I love how the power company, every single power company that I know does this, and I think it's fucking hilarious. They put up notifications on their website. If they notify you at all that they're doing planned maintenance or anything or planned scheduling, they put a notification on their website. Because as we all know, everyone loves to check the website of their local power or utility companies. That's just a thing that we all do. And when the power goes out, we're totally able to check the websites of our power utility companies for updates.
Actually, my favorite thing to do is when I want to call into either like my cable company, well, not cable, internet, it's cable internet, but whatever, you get what I mean. Between that and the power company, if I want to actually contact them, what I do is I go and I use Twitter because both of our local companies have like social media teams, and those guys are bored as fuck, so I get immediate assistance. No waiting on the phone.
It's so dumb when local companies have social media teams.
That is so great.
I never even check to see if National Grid has a Twitter feed. They fucking must though.
But
That's
yeah,
great.
no,
Good idea.
I wouldn't have. It's great. Whenever I have an outage, I just boot up Twitter because inevitably I have some juice left on my phone, and I PM them and be like, "Hey, my power's down," and they're like, "What's your address?" And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, if the power ever goes out, we can tweet at our local utility companies. All of us except for Zero, that is.
Yeah, because fuck Twitter. No, I actually, yes, with the recent rebranding, I believe I'm getting around that.
Zero got banned from all social media.
I really did, and it's
including
hilarious.
Twitch, even Twitch.
No, not Twitch.
Okay, because that's where you're.
Facebook though. I got banned on Facebook. I got my account got dinged for spam. My streaming platform.
Yeah, all of them got dinged for spam because they don't like you having a sponsor.
Yeah, they don't like me being an affiliate with a company and sharing their product. So,
but yeah, at least Twitch is fine with this because it's their fucking idea in the first place.
Well, and I have actually reached out and been speaking to the owners of the company, because the owners of the company that I'm an affiliate with are very, very approachable. And they have said that they have run into this in the past, and it has taken almost a month for some people to get their Twitter privileges back. He said at that point you might as well just rebrand, and then it doesn't happen again generally. I said, yeah, but you don't know my luck. It will happen again.
They don't know about the demonic portal that powers your operation.
So what's your new branding?
Mountain Star Gaming. And it is actually kind of like a local thing, because Roanoke, Virginia is known as the Star City. We have a gigantic star up on the mountain near my house, actually. And that is what Roanoke is known for. That and Norfolk Southern. So
I don't know. I would have gone with like Fancy Feet or something.
Yes, but I don't have a foot cam yet.
You don't need one. You just need to take a couple pictures of feet and then put those in the profile pics where your face is supposed to go, and just be like, "Nope, I'm a foot." You could get like,
oh my god, that could be a
fucking
VTuber that is a foot.
Yeah, a foot tuber.
You could say it's a foot in the right direction.
Oh God.
Thank you. I also would have accepted a step in the right direction. Both perfectly fine.
Yeah, I could really sock it to him.
I see you toeing the line.
Yeah.
Something related to feet. Whatever. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Church of Chonkwij podcast. I finally changed my name to Squiddy Wonka, and I'm joined tonight by Mountain Man, OmegaConstruct, and Podlord. Yeah, it's still Masquid Me. Thank you, Mountain Man.
In like months.
I didn't see Zero's full name, and I was really hoping that he just changed it to Mountain Mama.
I mean, I do have tits. They are quite immaculate.
I was thinking I should have looked closer at that because my initial thought was like, oh, I'll just change mine to Take Me Home. And then somebody else to do Country Roads, but unfortunately Discord organizes us in alphabetical order, so yeah, Country Roads would have been up first. But everybody knows what we're getting at, right? Everybody knows.
Right.
Zero's from West Virginia.
No,
So, last weekend was great. Because the Diablo 4 closed beta came out. Leetness gave me a key. Thank you, Leetness. And everybody, and Omega, and Spirit showed up. That was great. I saw Spirit for the first time, I think, this year. Came around and played Diablo 4 for a little while. Some of us were slightly unhealthily obsessed with the D4 closed beta. Namely Leetness, but also Omega.
Yeah, I put in work.
A lot of time.
Got other characters to 25 through the campaign, and then I started a hardcore playthrough with Barbarian, which is the most fun of all of them. Didn't use any guides or anything. I'm just playing around, working my way through the skill tree, building a character as I see fit as I go. And it feels so much fun. It's true hack and slash Barbarian. It's fucking great.
I was playing around with Sorcerer. I rebirthed Scott, so Scott is back. He is so gay, but looks fantastic. And Sorcerer is a pretty fun class. I started off trying to play Sorcerer the way that you stereotypically do it, which is ranged, and then I discovered, quite by accident, how to do melee Sorcerer. And melee Sorcerer is a fucking tank and a beast. So that was interesting. It's worth pointing out, though, that everything that we experienced in the beta is subject to change when the game actually releases on June 6th. So there may have been some stuff in there that was unintentionally broke.
I mean, I'm sure some things here and there will be changed, but I didn't notice anything super broke. Did you come across anything?
Yeah, one of the wizard's base skills that doesn't cost any mana, it just regenerates mana. It does like 10 times the amount of damage that the other 3 do, and you can buff that further with I think it's a spectral summons of some kind that puts the vulnerable status onto anything that it touches. So I accidentally came across the combination of those two and was kind of fucking unstoppable. Health was a problem for a while until I started reading on the defensive stuff, because I thought initially that I wanted to go with Frost Nova because when you did it, it looked cool. I started reading around on all those and discovered that Fire Armor, though it's extremely brief, and I think they meant it to be sort of a panic button, where the stuff got too close to you, so you popped this and it burned them. Instead, it's got a healing option on it. It does heal you, and you can abuse that. You can also abuse cooldowns. So yeah, again, I'm not sure if that was supposed to be deliberate. Melee Wizard is super fun. I used to really love C0C Wizard back in D3, but yeah, maybe it's intentional.
I've talked a lot about with leaders about how much D2 is in D4, and there's a lot of Diablo 2 in there, and I fucking love it. Point being, one of the core wizard abilities in Diablo 2 is Enchant, which adds fire damage to your melee weapon, and it is a melee wizard build, or sorceress. And yeah, melee sorcs were totally a thing in D2. A couple different builds. There were pure enchant builds, then there was also a crazy lightning damage melee build. So I fucking love it. Dude, I am so... Unsurprisingly, first day, massive connection issues, massive queue times. As expected, disappointing because they don't learn, but, you know, they also have no incentive to do better. But once the game was actually up and running smoothly, holy shit, 10 out of 10. It integrates things from Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Diablo Immortal, all these different things that I love from these 3 different games, and brings them together in like an environment that I just love to death. Yeah, I am so 9.5 out of 10, if not a 10.
So I think it's fair to say that we all had fun playing the D4 closed beta. So the open beta is next week, and Zero was kind enough to share a Forbes article with me that spelled out very clearly that the progress made in the closed beta carries over into the open beta. So we'll have all our characters back, and we can just continue on. Yep. It's just after that everything gets wiped out before the main launch on June 6th.
And this next weekend's beta will also be adding the Necromancer and Druid classes.
Right.
So we get to explore those as well.
I think the Druid was the one that I was most enthusiastic to try out.
Me too.
Because Druid had a lot of potential in D2. I never really got good at Druid in D2, but I loved the idea of it. I guess actually what probably put me off Druid in D2 after long enough was a lack of AoE. But it's been like 20 years. I don't really remember.
Yeah, the Druid in D2 has really 2 builds. It has a big AoE elemental build and a big high single target damage werewolf. That's pretty much, if I'm remembering correctly, that's pretty much the big 2 that you get. There's, you can also do like a fire druid, but the main elemental build is it's a whirlwind and hurricane, and so it does physical and cold damage. And then the melee one you stack with a bunch of crush and blow and bleeds. I didn't see any items with it, but apparently Crush and Blow is coming back in D4 as well. Cool mechanic. D4 to me feels like every enemy matters. You'd be like, I need to kill each of these enemies. It's no longer like I need to kill this room, or like I need to wipe this room or wipe this area. It's like, here are these specific individual enemies. You need to target each one in some cases. It really got away from that Diablo 3 PoE feeling of mass AoE one-click room destruction to like, you're an adventurer fighting a horde of monsters. Good luck. I think they nailed it when it comes to that.
That's slightly a downside for me, because I prefer my AoE when I play these kind of isometric RPGs. I really enjoy. I don't need to kill the entire room with a click. I just need to do damage to everything in the room with a click. And I'm happy to just repeat that and just watch the room melt. Even if it takes a little while, I find that very gratifying and very satisfying. Well, which is why I started trying to do more AoE stuff with Wizard, which is why I started playing around with the build, and I happened upon what I finally settled on. Because that's the other thing about the standards, that standard skill that does way more damage than the other 3 standard skills, base skills, whatever they call them in this game, not only does way more damage, but it arcs to other enemies. That's what sort of attracted me to it. And I was like, okay, how much does it arc? And it turns out, yeah, if there's a horde of it, the more enemies around you there are, the more damage you do to more enemies. So that
Are you talking the chain lightning
nice.
skill?
I don't remember what it was called. It was one of the very first. I don't think, was it lightning? I don't think it was lightning.
It was one of the tier. It's a tier 2 skill that I swapped out
No.
for Fireball.
Yeah, mine's a tier 1. Mine's a tier 1, so basic
so
attack.
It's one of the basic attack. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that stuff like that will or definitely may get tuned to one degree or another. So yeah, specific things like that, specific broken. If it is that much more powerful, it might get tuned down a little bit. But also keep in mind, though, that this is capped at level 25, which right now the level cap is 50. And then there's going to be Paragon levels on top of that. So we are barely... we haven't... we can't possibly unlock the bottom node of our skill tree yet, and we certainly can't fill out a lot of the supporting nodes. So I think this is going to feel a lot more like D2. Whereas like D3, where it's as you get better through the whole thing, through the whole progression up the torment levels, the game kind of just feels the same the whole time. You're just, this is the level that your gear makes it feel like you can beat, and then you get better gear, and then you go to a new difficulty level that your gear can beat. Whereas in the D2 method, feeling, and which I think we're getting here, is once you break into the end game, D2 end game, that's where you get your...
Zero did it! Congratulations, Zero. You killed the world. Sorry.
Killed the world. Congratulations. Yeah, once we get to end game, that's when you get your Hammerden that wipes out, the entire fucking map, or you get your Blizzsork, or you get your Lightning Javelin, your Javazons and shit. So I think once we do get to endgame, it's going to feel like it did in D2, where it's like, okay, now we're here. Now we have this gear. Now we farm these legs. Let's go. We can wipe out shit on higher difficulty tiers. D2 far more than D3. The fun, a lot of the fun was just taking a character from 0 to the end of hell difficulty, and just playing the campaign and getting stronger, and feeling that adventure. And I think D4 is really going to bring that back.
I'm also... Well, I should say I am curious to see what endgame is like, because, yeah, I appreciate... Actually, I don't appreciate the leveling process. I see it as it's necessary. It's something that every single game has. It's a leveling process. What drives me crazy is that I absolutely love optimizing gear. Mm-hmm. And it's less rewarding for me when I know there's no point in optimizing my gear right now, because I'm going to get better gear in like 10 minutes. So I don't want to waste resources. I still optimize some stuff. Like, I mainly go after my weapon. I got some pretty sweet, I'm sure all of us got like all legendary gear by the end of it. But I got a pretty sweet legendary weapon pretty early on that carried me from like level 12 to level 23 or something. It was a fucking badass wand. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, the leveling process, not so much for me, but the story that they have going so far, the integration of cutscenes and focus on conversation, on story, on lore, on things like that, for D4, for this beta, seemed pretty fucking solid to me. That was actually a nice departure from D3, where shit is kind of goofy, and you just... It's got D3 has Chris Metzen written all over it. Which, again, talented artist, love the guy, not a great writer. D4 went back to what I remember, how I remember D2, not necessarily what D2 is, but how I remember D2 as being an in-depth story with characters who mattered, who, were going after goals. Again, Lilith doesn't seem like a bad guy. She is definitely an antagonist, but she is pursuing a goal that is perfectly reasonable to her and beneficial, as she sees it, to everyone in Sanctuary. That's nice. I appreciate that in an antagonist. So I'm looking forward to see how the story is fleshed out when the game is finished and launches. I want to see where they take this. They've already been dropping a lot of character names, a lot of nice tie-ins to D3 that I picked up, and I believe a handful of characters from D2, but I'm less certain about that. So it seems like the story was crafted by people who know the universe really fucking well and care about it, which is a big plus for me.
Yeah, I noticed a few moments of fan service here and there, like nice little references. Got attacked by the butcher a couple times, which seems like it's a random spawn. It's like a assassin style. Like I was just in a random dungeon and then turn a corner. Oh, there's the fucking butcher. First time I did it, I was with Leetness and we killed him. A while later, I was in a dungeon, going about my business. Oh, out of nowhere, butcher shows up and he wiped me the fuck out.
Suddenly, butcher. Not to be confused with Carl Urban.
What do you think of the persistent open world?
Blizzard needs to get their fucking netcode together, because I was noticing I pinned it down pretty fucking fast, actually. When you're in a town, when you're in a common area, especially the centralized town there where all the merchants and utilities and whatnot are, I was getting frame drops, I was getting skips, I was getting lag and rubber banding, all the rest of it, and I am guessing that's because there were a lot of other players in that instance dancing around me, you know, going about their business, doing their thing, and the netcode is not clean for that. However, when I was out in the middle of, you know, the world and there was basically nobody around me, or I only encountered a couple players, you know, just walking by and everything, shit was relatively smooth. They've got, Blizzard has a lot of polishing to do, and Blizzard is known for being very good at polish, so.
Well, and you figure that they would know how to mitigate that type of situation, given WoW.
Yeah, but that's the thing. WoW's engine, this is a whole new engine. I'm not sure how netcode factors into what they're doing, or how much of that they can actually copy pasta over from WoW. But WoW is an extremely stable game that hasn't. I don't think their engine has changed in 18 years. I think it's the same goddamn thing. I think they're still using. They've obviously optimized their netcode, but they've had over a decade to optimize their netcode. I'm not sure how they will deal with that, because this is less like. Well, no, I shouldn't say that, because I'm not 100% on how WoW's persistent open world works versus say Lost Ark. I'm going to bring Lost Ark up a lot, actually, because there are a lot of things that Blizzard has taken from Lost Ark, and there are a couple things that they shouldn't have, and a couple things that they should. There's actually, but yeah, 0 point taken. Let's see, there is an article here from Forbes. There it is. It's somewhat inaccurately titled, "What was bad about the Diablo 4 beta?" That's not really the focus of the article. This is not the bad. This is just, he starts out with tech issues. So yeah, Omega already said, yeah, the game crashed roughly 75% of the time when this guy tried to go back to the title screen or quit entirely. There were launch problems. There are always launch problems. Blizzard is just like that, and they're not changing, and Omega already said it's frustrating because they don't learn from their mistakes, but we keep on putting up with them.
At this point, those complaints are just like, yeah, we get it. We all expected it. We're all disappointed in it, but it's not going to change. Let's move on.
It's going to be that way again. I mean, the open beta, there are going to be, I'm just going to guess there are going to be at least double the number of people that there were in the closed. And it's gonna be that all over again when they start up, and then it's going to smooth out, and then it's going to do that again on launch day on June 6th. It's
I mean,
these are going to be problems. We know.
You have to think they're going to have more capacity for next week's open beta and more capacity again then for the launch. But still, the extra capacity that they're increasing to is still not going to be enough.
Right.
So, but, you know, at the end of the day, us having difficulty getting in the first, 6 hours of the open beta, nobody's not going to buy the game because they had difficulties getting in the first day of the open beta. People are going to bitch and moan, but nobody's going to not buy the game because of it. So they have no incentive to do different.
And the other thing about it is that to compound that problem, the game was crashing while we were trying to do stuff. Usually when we entered a menu or we were teleporting or we were... Sometimes, in one case, I was just running around and all of a sudden... I tried to open my inventory and I immediately CTD. But that just compounds the problem because you have to hop back in queue and you need to wait. At that point, the wait was down to like 20 minutes, which is... I can't believe I'm saying that's not bad. But... yeah, that's also not going to discourage people from buying the game because they're just like, oh, it's a beta. That's supposed to happen. Now, if that happens the first month after release, there are going to be some people bitching about it. But joke's on you. You already pre-ordered. Blizzard has your money. Get fucked.
Well, by Friday evening, the queue was down to, like you said, 20 minutes, even less in some cases. When I got DC'd, I had a couple 12-minute queues later in the evening. And then all day Saturday and Sunday, not a single queue issue. So either it makes you wonder, either they did seriously up server capacity for the weekend, or the alternative, which I find harder to believe, is that there were more people trying to play the game at noon on launch day in the middle of the workday than there were on the weekend.
Well, actually, I think that's not an unreasonable guess, actually, because as I think, who was it, Leetness pointed out or Spirit pointed out, there were priority queues for known streamers. So I understand.
Not for this. That was for a different game. That it was PoE. I thought that did that, and they got all kinds of shit for it. They were not. We were talking all day on Friday about, oh yep, that streamer just quit streaming. He just ended his stream because he had an 80-minute queue.
Oh,
there were no priority
okay.
queues for this. Yeah, no. We were just referencing PoE.
I must have misheard that then. So then I'm not sure what it was or why it got smoother as it went into Saturday, but yeah, maybe there were a lot of people who took work off on Friday so that they could play this at noon. Who knows?
I mean, it could have just been the immediate load all at once versus people coming and going as they please on the weekend. That could be it.
Sure. Something that we found when we were crawling through dungeons and we had to go back to the entrance of the dungeon was running all your way through. I did not realize this until the very end of the beta, and it's also touched upon in this article. There was actually a thing hidden in your emote wheel that would return you to the beginning of the dungeon.
Oh, if you go to the map and you just click on the exit to the dungeon, it'll teleport you to the front.
Right. So there's room for some tutorials in this game for shit like that. Again, it's a beta. I'm not expecting them to have, everything finished up to level 25. But yeah, just going forward, maybe in the official release of the game, maybe
just those loading screen tips.
Stuff. Yeah, loading screen tips would be nice.
Click on the exit to a dungeon on the map to teleport outside the entrance. Yeah.
Right. Instead of loading screen tips like we had, which were, did you know that when you put on armor, it increases your armor score?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yes. Yes, I have played a video game before. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so persistent open world... talking about this, not even persistent open world, just open world, where you have multiple settlements. Again, Lost Ark style. This is very much a game which, like Lost Ark, has large maps with different outposts, and you can get to these outposts using waypoints, and you can easily travel between them on the map to map to map to map. However, if you are somewhere and you TP, at this time, as far as I know, you don't have the option to pick where you town portal to. So you end up going back to the main city, and then you use your waypoint to go to the place where you originally wanted to TP to. So that might be something to think about.
You can teleport to any waypoint just from your map.
Without hitting T, you just go to map. How do you get out of... So when you open up the map and you're in a dungeon, how do you get out of the dungeon map and go to the world map?
Over on the left side of the map, you'll see like a little list, like the location name, and if you click on the world, you can click on the world map there, and it'll just take it. It'll change the view from the dungeon map to the world map outside, and then you can select a waypoint there.
Okay. See, if I had noticed something like that, then again might be good for, you know, a little tutorial, a little UI tutorial. That's another thing that is touched upon in this forum article, is the UI is fine. I didn't have any difficulty using anything. Apparently there were a bunch of features there that I did not notice, so a tutorial would be nice, just to cover that stuff. But the one thing that I will say about it is I thought the D3 dumbed down the inventory system from D2. D2, you can have something that's 1 square, you can have something that's 2 square, you can have 4 squares or 6 squares. In D3, you have something that is 1 square or 2 squares. In D4, it looks like you have things that are 1 square, period. So that is a little dumbed down to me, and I guess I'm trying to say it looks kind of like a mobile game. Kind of like a mobile game interface.
I feel like I don't disagree with you that it is dumbed down, but I think it just makes you not care. The game is an inventory management simulator anymore.
But I really like that.
That's
like one of my favorite parts of D2.
I don't mind that it isn't. Playing Tetris in D2 to fit your shit in your cube and in your inventory got old real quick. And at the end of the day, when you're playing endgame D2 anyway, 90% of your inventory is filled up with charms. So you're really only going out and picking up legendaries that drop if you can find any. So it's just a fucking tedious exercise. But
as far as inventory goes, I will give D4 credit for separating player inventory into 4 categories. One of them is just general shit that you pick up. The other is quest items. Another is consumable items. And I forget what the fourth one was.
Aspects.
Yeah, there you go. So you don't have to you don't have to fret over your inventory space quite as much as you did in D2. In D3, I gotta say, I never had a problem with inventory. D3 was fucking perfect inventory-wise, in my opinion. But yeah.
I think this is going to end up feeling a lot like D3, where inventory just becomes kind of a non-thought. It's just, oh, my inventory is full, time to head to town and sell it. We don't have portal or like town portal scrolls like you did in D2, where heading to town actually cost a resource.
They ditched that
anytime.
Yeah,
just like you can in D3. So I think it doesn't fucking matter. I don't know. You're right. It is dumb that a ring takes up the same amount of space in your inventory as a suit of armor.
It's a great sword.
Yeah, that's a little dumb. I agree with you, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't care that much, and it philosophically tells me that Blizzard as a dev team are saying that in this game, inventory management, we're trying to, because like inventory management has kind of always been a problem in the Diablo game. It's always, I need more space, I need more stash tabs, I need more this. The way that they are, like, these aspects, it's like every legendary you get that has a good aspect, it's just like, fuck it, all right, I'll go extract that aspect. I'll keep a stockpile of aspects, and I don't need to keep a stockpile of legendary.
in my stash. So I'm hoping that they figured out some way to alleviate it. Now we'll of course have to see once we actually get playing how that ends up working. But
Right.
I'm halfway between like, yeah, you're right, it is really dumbed down, and also feeling like I don't know if I care.
Well, I appreciate streamlining processes, but I also appreciate a little bit of complexity in a game that ostensibly I'm going to be sinking a lot of time into. Yep. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, whatever. There's room for improvement across the board. A lot of the stuff is great. Stability is a big problem, and I guess that's pretty much the recap. Things that Lost Ark did, which Diablo 4 does not have, is regional servers. I'm glad that they don't do that. It's dumb in a lot of cases. They've adopted more of a Warframe mentality where everybody is on the same server and you just sort of get paired up depending on what session it is a session, what session you're in, and you can easily just change sessions, join friends, whatever. Streamlined, fine, it's great. The downside of that, obviously, is that I have no way of knowing. I don't know. Maybe the information's out there, but I don't know how servers balance or sessions balance number of players. So it is possible that you will get into a session with a low player count and you'll want to go do a world boss and you'll be alone and you're unable to do that, or you're unable to do that content because either no one else is interested in doing it at the time, or there just simply aren't enough players around you doing that content on that continent at that time. So that's sort of a double-edged sword, but I'm more or less happy with the way that Blizzard decided to do it. I don't really like that system in Lost Ark. And yeah, the rest of this I'm saving for Endgame, because I have no idea what their Endgame is going to be. I have no idea how much FOMO Blizzard is going to try to pack into this.
Yeah, the real question is going to be what does the world look like when the battle pass?
Yeah, that'll be something to see.
As an aside, boss fight was fun. World boss that they had.
What was that?
The world boss fight was pretty cool.
Yeah. There were a lot of people there with you.
I did it all 4 times that it spawned. The 2 during the day were pretty big groups, and then at night the first one was like okay size. It was like 7 or 8 of us, and then the second one at night was just 8 of us, and I was the only one that was actually level 25, and half of them were below 20. And we ended up only finishing that with less than a minute left on the timer. But it was fun. It's somewhere between like a WoW boss and like a Dark Souls boss. Like, you need to learn the mechanics. You need to know what attacks are going to kill you, what attacks you can tank. You need to know where to stand at certain times. And if you don't, you'll just fucking die. But by the end of my 4th fight, I did first 2 with Sorceress, second 2 with Rogue. By the end of the 4th one, I didn't die, and I was doing a lot of consistent damage. It was a lot of fun.
Yep, for world boss mechanics, again, I'm waiting to see how they balance that sort of shit, because for in D3, the Malthael fight in Act 5, that obviously has mechanics to it, but they are very easy. It's very easily choreographed. It's intuitive, and you can pick that up fairly easily, versus basically every single boss in Lost Ark, where the choreographing is extremely subtle. You need to know exactly what you're doing at all times. You need to basically no life it to perfect to get perfect in that fight, and that's too much.
This fight felt like a Diablo fight. It was like, oh, so, he's sweeping back his arm for that giant arcing fight. That giant arcing, swipe. Let me either dodge out of the way or get between his legs so it misses me. Oh, he's
pounding the ground for his giant sweep back attack. Let me dodge to the side. Like it's not that unfriendly. It's just, you need to do it a few times to learn the mechanics, and then you'll get it. And also
Right.
versus Malthael, like Malthael's a very small arena. That is, just your party on that scale. In this fight, like this world boss fight, like this, it actually the camera zooms out and it gets like this big arena view. I would say it's probably about twice as far, like twice as much of a zoom, or half as much of a zoom, I guess, as usual. And when I was doing with my Sork, like if you like doing ranged Sork fight, you can stand way out of range of any of its attacks and just drop thunder on it. If you wanted to do that, sure. But when I was a rogue, I got in there and I was basically standing between his legs, stabbing it in the gooch. So,
as you do.
Yeah.
In the gooch.
It was a big, giant, I don't know, demon monster thing. Fucking huge.
All right, so
it was like
that's
Shadow of the Colossus scale. Maybe
that's
not that
D4.
huge.
That's D4. They're doing the open beta next weekend, so we'll probably talk about this next podcast as well. But yeah, that 40 minutes worth of Diablo 4, that's pretty good for one podcast. All right, Zero. So this past week, unfortunately, Lance Reddick passed away. He was known, I guess, most recently is known for John Wick. John Wick 4 will be his final appearance. A lot of people also know him from The Wire, and it's even on IMDb here. He's quoted as the Destiny games, part of the Destiny game series. Zero, is the community doing anything to remember Lance Reddick in Destiny?
Absolutely, they are. There are guard watches that are scheduled for his character in the tower in multiple instances. He wasn't just the voice of Commander Zavala. He wasn't just the voice. He played Destiny. He was one of us. He constantly posted, videos of himself playing Destiny. And, it's not very often that you see a voice actor that is that heavily involved in the game. He was in the race for world first every single time. He never won, but he was in the race for world first in every single raid that ever came out in Destiny. And I really hope that Bungie does more than just a, hey, we miss Lance Reddick, let's just replace him. Because technology has come so far that they can continue to use his voice. And I hope that they work that out with his family, that his voice continues to be that of Commander Zavala. Because we lost Nolan North, we lost Peter Dinklage, we don't need to lose Lance Reddick as well.
Peter Dinklage's not dead.
Well, no, I know that. But what I'm saying is Peter Dinklage was Ghost version 1.0, aka Dinklebot. But they changed that because they didn't like the way he sounded. It honestly, I thought it was perfect. But Nolan North, was the voice of Cade, and then right before he died, they said, we're not gonna use him. We'll use the voice actor who plays the ghost. And so I just, it's a huge blow to the Destiny community to lose Lance Reddick, because he was, again, like I said, one of us. He was a player. He was he was right there in the thick of it with us from the beginning. He has been there since the beginning.
So yeah, as you've been talking, just scrolling through his acting credits from IMDb. He was prolific, and he did a lot of voiceover work for a lot of games, including the John Wick game. and obviously Destiny and Payday. I didn't realize he was also in Payday 2.
He was in the Critical Role cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He was also
He
in
played-
the 2019 reboot of DuckTales. I like DuckTales. Woo! So, anyway, Lance Riddick. I also, especially, he's credited in all 60 episodes of The Wire. I did not realize, it's been a while since I saw that show. I did not realize he was that in the show, but yeah, he had one hell of a character arc too.
Yeah, he was one of the best characters on the show.
He just kept on getting promoted.
I just recently rewatched The Wire with my girlfriend, and God, he was fucking good on that show. Also, the Resident Evil show.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen that, but you know, that might not be a majestically excellent piece of television.
That's going to be a niche thing for a lot of people, but
fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun sci-fi action, suspense thriller horror, kind of, sci-fi guns and cool shit going on with Lance Riddick as a wholesome dad.
However, if anyone would like to watch a truly excellent sci-fi series that used to be on cable television, back when cable television was a thing, Lance Riddick also featured prominently in a series called Fringe. And Fringe was pretty excellent. So yeah, there you go. Anyone who's not familiar with Lance Riddick or likes Lance Riddick and hasn't seen some of this stuff, yeah, go check it out. He's in some excellent stuff.
He's actually, it looks like John Wick 4 is not going to be his last appearance. They're redoing White Men Can't Jump, and he's in that. A movie named Shirley, and then he's also playing. He's also playing Zeus. He's also playing Zeus in
Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So,
which we can. I don't want to speak badly of the Percy Jackson series, but you can probably skip the Percy Jackson series. White Men Can't Jump, I'd be interested in, and yeah. So the movies are White Men Can't Jump, Shirley, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Apteros, Saint Sebastian, the Caine Mutiny, Court Martial, and Ballerina. So yeah, he does.
Was in. He also voiced Alan Rails in the Vindicator episode of Rick and Morty, which happens to be one of my favorite episodes.
He did. Spoilers: his character gets filled with a million ants and explodes from the inside out.
Yep. And then he also played Papa Legba in American Horror Story Coven, by far the best season of American Horror Story. But he played Papa Legba, which was great.
He also made an absolutely fantastic guest appearance on the Eric Andre show, which Omega posted in general a couple days ago. I wish I were LeVar Burton.
I love that clip because it shows that, like,
Hannibal is just sitting there staring at him, and Eric Andre actually does the "what the fuck" face.
Dude, Hannibal is just so high all the time on that show. It's amazing.
Oh man. So yeah, okay. It's nice to hear that people are doing shit in Destiny for Lance. So yeah, there was a bunch of other serious. There's a bunch of other stuff here. Oh yeah, hey, you remember like last year when this lawsuit started up, where Fortnite was getting sued because in their in-app or their in-game transactions, they were swapping buttons back and forth to try and trick people into pressing OK to make real money purchases and all that shit. And also they were letting kids do it without the consent of their parents. Yeah. So the FTC hit Fortnite with a $245 million fine. And that's apparently how that chapter ends. Yeah, this is really gonna put a dent into Epic. What do they make, like $4 billion a year off Fortnite?
No, more. I think it was 6 last time I heard, and that was a couple years back.
That's ridiculous. Oh, so the fines from the FTC actually currently stand at over $500 million because the company already agreed to pay $275 million for violating the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Because, yeah, they were tracking their users regardless of age. So, yeah. Still, though. That happened. And, yeah, I guess that's the conclusion to that story that we talked about a couple times last year or the year before. Christ, this has been going on for a long time. And then the other serious thing to talk about was that, yeah, Twitch lays off more than 400 employees, and Amazon cuts another 9,000 jobs. The subtitle of this article correctly points out they already laid off 18,000 people in January.
It's funny, as Twitch CEO just resigned like 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, Zero posted that article. He did. Twitch is having a rough year. 2023. Twitch not doing so great so far. I'm
sure they're doing fine. This is just dictated by Amazon. This is a tech company, like a tech world thing. Right now, I was talking to my friend about this earlier today. I saw this article, or no, it was a tweet by an economist who called out the tech industry right now as being the most risk-averse copycat industry on the planet right now. And he says, like, all these job cuts aren't because of reasons. Like, all these companies are posting record profits. Every company, like, the stock market is fine. All these companies have been posting record quarterly profits, time and time again. And it's just one company lays off some workers, and all these other companies copycat it. And there's not a reason for it. It's just they all see another company doing it, so that's what they do. Elon Musk bought Twitter, fired a bunch of people. Everything on Twitter broke. The service got worse. All these other companies are saying, "Oh, Elon Musk bought a company and fired a bunch. We should downsize our workforce." I don't think it's much deeper than that. I mean, Twitch isn't going anywhere.
So the board is worried about the economy heating up. I was suggesting firing 500,000, possibly from one of the smaller companies, like the cab companies. Fire 1 million. That is your nightly Fifth Element reference.
Oh, thank you.
That's how fucking well I know that movie. Oh, God. Yeah,
Gary
the most infuriating...
Oldman, you beautiful genius.
He really is. I don't know what the fuck that pet he had was, but I think it's adorable and I want it. It's like a
little fat thing that sat on his desk.
Yeah, it's like a cross between a potbelly pig and an elephant. It was great. The most infuriating part about this article, and then we'll leave it, is the the Amazon CEO Andy Jassy quotes saying that Amazon has, quote, chosen to be more streamlined in our costs and headcount. And then the article here just goes on, again, God bless who wrote this article, Andy Chalk, you magnificent son of a bitch. The article just says, which means that people who used to have jobs now do not. It's like, yeah, you're fucking streamlined CEO jargon. I'm surprised you didn't try to throw synergy in there somewhere. Asshole. Yeah, you decided to fire people. Because as Omega just said, an older boy did it. So you want to do it too. Alrighty. And the last thing that's actually kind of fun is that, hey, there's a Silent Hill movie coming out. It's the adaptation of Silent Hill 2. It's about to start filming in Germany and in East Europe. And it is the same director as the original Silent Hill movie. Christopher Gans. Is he actually? Wait, did I get that right? I'm not sure if I got that right. It's a lot. Regardless, I believe it's the same director who did the original Silent Hill movie back in 2006. Yeah, Gans directed the 2006 Silent Hill movie, but he was not involved in the 2012 sequel, Silent Hill Revelation, which was, in comparison, a flaming hot mess of garbage.
It was awful.
The 2006 Silent Hill movie was fucking great. Because even though, if I didn't hear the story in all video games, blah, 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 whatever. As a movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it because the texture, the setting, the monsters, the horror, it was all on point. It is a horror movie. It's the kind of horror movie that I like. It's not dependent on jump scares. In fact, some of the monster designers in the special edition of the Silent Hill DVD, you can go and you can watch it and, like behind the scenes stuff. Some of the monster designers working on the original Silent Hill video game said that the whole point of Silent Hill is not to make a monster that's so terrifying that you close your eyes. It's to make a monster that's so interesting that you look at it and you just can't look away. Like, it's fucking terrifying, but you can't stop looking at it. And yeah, the 2006 movie was very successful in that sense. Also great story, also great actors. So I wish them all the best, and I hope that this Silent Hill movie turns out way better than the last one. And it would be great if they figured out a way to get Sean Bean back, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I really, really, honestly, I'm looking forward to only one video game horror movie in the next 2-3 years. And it's just simply to see if all of the FNAF fanboys go fucking nuts over the movie and if it actually follows the lore correctly with all of the children deaths and everything.
Good Lord. First of all, I can't believe that lawsuit actually got hammered out. And second of all, who did you say was in it?
Let's see. I believe Willem Dafoe is being credited as being in the movie.
That's the guy.
But
okay.
It is Matthew Lillard?
I don't care about any of that. You mentioned Willem Dafoe the other day, or you dropped his name in connection with the FNAF movie, and I was like, okay, Willem Dafoe. All right. Yeah. He's generally not known for being in crappy stuff, and when he is, he elevates it to not crappy. So, there you go. That's a good sign.
I do have to say that the fact that Blumhouse kind of took over that and said, look, we're going to do this right, and they are actually working with the creator of the game and not just doing their own thing with the movie like most video game movies do. Hence why the Halo show was an absolute shit show.
Still haven't seen it. Don't care.
So
Omega says it's bullshit because Master Chief takes his helmet off in the first episode. I'm inclined to side with Omega and just be like, okay.
Also, like, he fucks a lot. And that's not something that Master Chief ever did.
No.
He's too much of a man.
He was literally a celibate war machine in love with an AI that lived in a chip in his brain.
So he was an incel.
Yeah, I almost said that. I almost used that term, but
I don't even know if he had.
He was selected as a child, so I mean, it was pretty involuntary. Yeah. Enough said.
I don't even know if apparently in the show it's very clear that Master Chief is fully functional. But I have no idea if that actually it never came up in the video games because it wasn't goddamn important at all. You're right, that wasn't the character. That's never been the character. The character is, what is he, like 350 pounds of pure wrecking machine?
Yep.
Like, yeah. Go do this impossible thing. All right.
Well, and the Spartans aren't like soldiers who well, I'm done with work on the base for the day. Time to go home and go to the bar and try and bang a chick or something. Like, that's not what the Spartans did. They were like elite super soldiers who were always somewhere doing something. There was no Master Chief getting R&R going to get some pussy. Like, that's not a thing.
Yeah. That's it. Like, outside of cryo, I'm not clear on whether or not a Spartan sleeps. They're just constantly going.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, point taken, Zero.
Their suits infuse their body with all sorts of drugs and shit. And, I'm sure they have, they sleep at some point. But you're not wrong. They are very much... Also, like, underneath their suits, they're horribly scarred because they get these crazy bone and muscle implants when they hit puberty and shit. Dude, you should read the Halo books. There's some fucked up shit in those books. I don't know if you actually know a lot of the lore of the Halo world, but like the Spartan program is pretty fucking awful. They just take kids and they're like, oh, you tested within these ranges. I mean, it's kind of a sci-fi trope, but you've all heard it. They take these kids from their families and like, we're going to train you to be super soldiers. We're going to jack you filled with, growth hormones and stimulant drugs and fucking give you muscular skeletal implants, and have half the kids who we do this to die, but the other half of you go on to be great fucking soldiers.
Oh, The Witcher.
Yeah, not far from it.
Yeah.
Also,
no, you scanned in a whole bunch of shit from your collector's edition. It's still in our DMs on Discord. So I have whoever the doctor is, or something, it's on here, whatever, it doesn't matter. The doctor's notes for when she was developing the Spartan program. And all this is written down, biomechanical implants. Surgically restructuring muscle tissue. Yeah, this is gross. And cool. So, yeah. So, that's about it. We can talk about anything else that's in Cox. But, yeah, that's about it. Masami? Still, Oh, no, you're not. Never mind. I was gonna ask if you're still, redecorating houses, refurbishing houses. Or if you've got work invested into any of another billion projects that you're into right now.
Well, so the last article that I posted, actually, kind of the only reason I posted it was because it made me giggle uncontrollably, was that a smuggler tried to scoot 84 SSDs into China and got busted. Turns out that that an e-scooter is not the ideal transportation mode for smuggling. He apparently had them inside of the neck of the scooter.
That was my question. Why don't you open up the base panel and lay them out so that you can at least, maybe there's a chance that somebody will mistake them for batteries?
Yeah.
Or something like that? But yeah, no, this was, good on customs. But Jesus Christ. Pretty stupid.
So what is I'm trying to figure out why that would be illegal.
I mean, you don't just smuggle things because they're illegal. You could just be trying to skip import taxes.
No, that's true. $84 M.2s, man.
Yeah, I saw that right now. I was like, of all the things, that seems like a lot of risk for, like, how much profit realistically could you make on those cards? But
there's a recap on the bottom. In Zhuhai, customs officials found a smuggler attempting to bring 200 CPUs into the country.
Just saying that.
Yeah, stuffing them into a prosthetic pregnant belly. And then last year, another man tried to walk 160 CPUs into the country taped to his body. So yeah, I have to go with Omega on this one. This is trying to avoid import taxes.
Hey, I mean...
But, jeez.
Biden administration has been getting tough on selling computer hardware to China.
Yeah.
This could be a result of that, too.
Oh, and in wrestling news, because everybody but me watches wrestling, um, Andy Kaufman is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year.
I know he had a stint way back in the day, but that sounds to me like a desperate bid for attention, like mainstream attention from
Oh, it is.
WWE.
The main image that comes up for him under Google, he just looks so surprised. So, oh my god, a camera.
He and Jerry Lawler. In fact, it wasn't even a WWE thing. It was a Mid-South wrestling thing. It was Tennessee, and it was the territory that Jerry Lawler ran for years until the WWE bought it out. But I mean, they did the Tonight Show, they did like a whole bunch of stuff. But Andy Kaufman was the first. The other infamous issue that happened was when I think it was Hulk Hogan put Richard Belzer in a headlock and made him pass out, or put him in a sleeper and made him pass out. That was another situation, and then John Stossel got the shit smacked out of him by Dr. D.
I have no idea who any of these people are. I just think their names are funny. Except Hulk. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan.
John Stossel, aka the prick who thinks he's different.
Stossel. That's a fun name.
Oh, there must be a dog on the TV. I can hear my pup barking at the TV.
Yeah. Anyway. I'm sorry, Masami, this was not a very pun-rich environment tonight.
That's okay. I know you guys will take the punishment at some point.
That's true.
Easy now.
It's so true. Oh, I didn't even get to break out the narrator.
Holy shit. I didn't realize Lawler suffered a stroke.
Yes. That was actually live on TV.
Happened during Lawler had a stroke on TV?
On Raw. He was in the middle of commentating. They went to break and came back, and he was being taken out on a stretcher. He had a damn stroke on television.
Wow.
Of course, he doesn't do it anymore. He's, quote, retired. But I'm sure he'll be the one inducting Andy Kaufman into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this article that I'm reading on Variety is speculating about just that.
Because while Vince is back in his CEO role, that has been a hot topic of discussion because the last pay-per-view, last week on Raw, he was apparently at Gorilla behind the curtain. He was at Gorilla the entire show. And people said that he stayed back out of the way. He talked to the wrestlers, but he did not have any input in the show at all. That he didn't even try. He just kind of hung out, talked to Triple H, never put a headset on, nothing. Just watched the show from the couch that was in Gorilla.
It also says in 2012, Lawler class broadcasting on WWE's Monday Night Raw has a heart attack, and then he had a stroke.
I think that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking about, the heart attack.
He had a stroke in 2018, and then February 8th of this year, had a stroke, but he's out of the ICU and recovering at his home in Fort Myers. Gosh. Well, props to him for keep on getting up.
Yeah. Can't take that man down. He is something else.
I wish I were LeVar Burton. All right. So that'll about do it for us. GG's, everybody. Once again, I pulled up Twitch chat and I completely ignored it this entire time. I'm so fucking sorry. Oh, well, these things happen.
Oh, did anybody join us tonight? Everybody joined us tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah. No Kirby, though. So at least I didn't miss Kirby this time. That would have been like the 3rd time in a row. I'm embarrassed when that happens. But yeah, anyway,
Maybe
GG's.
he's learned to curb his enthusiasm.
Leetness, I hope you have fun listening to this later. We'll see you when you poke your head up out of the ground again for Diablo 4 open beta next weekend. Until then, we'll see you the same time, same place next week. Peter Spinas, fuck Putin, fuck Winnie the Pooh, and fuck him.
Fuck 'em!
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, fuck him.
Good.